What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast, episode 127. My name is Brett, aka Enigma911, and today I'm joined by Joe, aka Dojo1544. Joe, how's it going today?
Good, very good. I appreciate you having me on.
Thanks for being on.
This is I feel very, very lucky, especially because when I started streaming, I used you as a kind of an example. So it's a pretty cool experience.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you for being on. I appreciate it. If you guys want to catch this podcast live, you go to twitch.tv/Enigma911 or Facebook.com/Dojo1544. I think that's the link. You go over there on Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. You join the chat, join us live. If you're a subscriber over there, we'd love to have you in on the conversation. But if you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. It drops over on YouTube. Just search Enigma911 where it drops out topic by topic and is put as one big MP3 and video for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, hashtag add merch store. Get all your swag over there. T-shirts, cups, backpacks, and more. Rep the brand, support us, and we would love you for it. So yes, we're back for another episode of the podcast, back with another guest. It's been a month of me talking to myself. I'm sure you guys love that. But I got Joe on today, and we're gonna have some fun topics prepped for you guys. So Joe, you mentioned you started streaming over on Facebook, as I've said a few times as well. How long you been streaming for, man?
It's been about I think we're at a year and a half now.
Wow. Okay. Time flies.
Right? Exactly. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was over the summer, and I had a laptop and a dream,
Mm-hmm.
and it was more of a just hey, that looks really cool, and that looks like a really fun time. It's like playing video games with more friends,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of was the thought.
Nice. So, along with that, what made you want to start streaming?
Mostly because I found it entertaining,
Mm-hmm.
I think, as it was the Facebook platform that it would just kind of pop up every so often. And at that time, I think Warzone, Call of Duty as well came out
Mm-hmm.
around that era. So that was one of my favorite games. And I'm like, wow, these guys and girls are really cool. It's kind of fun watching the game with someone talking their way through the game or even just making jokes as they go. Was kind of looking for something like a part-time hobby type thing, and that's what piqued my interest at the moment.
Nice. So you'd mentioned you would kind of watch some other streamers and thought, that was fun. Was there anybody in particular that you kind of started off with or maybe took some inspiration from?
Yeah, definitely. I think it was Stone Mountain 64
Okay.
most on Facebook. He's probably the Facebook's most popular streamer when it comes to just not intense gamer, but entertainer as well.
Yep.
And then from there, once you start following one, more pop up. So I thought that was pretty cool. But no, I liked his style. I liked that. I thought it was impressive how he could have 10,000 viewers at once, and it felt like you were engaged in that game, even though you're one of 10,000. So definitely a skill that I thought was cool, and still probably my favorite streamer to this date.
Nice. Very nice. So since you started streaming, have you had a favorite aspect of it since it started?
I would say, even though the community is still very small,
Mm-hmm.
just kind of the inside jokes that we've created within the stream. If something happens, die of fall damage, or one of my friends. Actually, I became closer with some of my friends that I went through in the police academy
Oh, okay. Cool.
than I've ever been. So it's almost like our stress relief time,
Mhm.
which plus they're also involved in the stream and
Oh,
invested. So they know that I'm streaming, and so it's almost like a 4-person stream instead of a 1-on-1. So
Right.
I would say the reconnection with old friends, plus also reaching out to mostly friends that already know who I am.
Mhm.
And then the sporadic, probably once a week, somebody stumbles upon it, and if they stick around, you develop that connection, which is kind of cool.
For sure. Have there been any difficulties along the way since you've started?
Oh yeah. So I'm not computer savvy, to say the least. So learning all of Streamlabs, I usually like to use a green screen, so every once in a while that will fail.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of learning the tips and tricks, especially so, my full-time job as a police officer and having a family of 5, it's rough to find like editing time.
Yep.
Um, it has to be really something awesome that happens within the stream for me to trim it down and repost it either to my page or YouTube. I've noticed that some of the most successful streamers edit and then they'll reuse their content, which is great. I just don't seem to find the time
Hmm.
to be able to do that. So if there's one thing I could redo is when I started, like try to work that in, like treat it like a part-time job. This
Gotcha.
is what I'm doing from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna edit, but it just never works out that way.
Yeah, understandable. And like you said, there's a lot to juggle and balance. So, I mean,
Yeah.
anytime you can find it, I mean, the thing is you're doing it, and that's the important thing. It's just
Hmm.
doing it, because if not, then it's just a hope, a wish, and a dream, and a thought.
Right. Right. Exactly.
So, baby steps, baby steps. So, since you started streaming, you streamed a couple of games, but it seems like Warzone is your go-to. Was Warzone something you were just playing on your own, or Call of Duty at least playing on your own, and then just like that seemed like the easiest transition into the streaming aspect, or was this
Yeah,
something new?
mostly. Yeah, no, I would say that one, it seemed to be popular at the time.
Hmm.
Uh, Two, my friends that I reconnected with played it very often.
Hmm.
Um, so it just kind of was our go-to game, and it never really changed. Tried to branch out a little bit of DayZ,
Oh,
the
okay.
survival game, a little bit of MLB, a little bit of NASCAR, a little
Hmm.
bit of Madden football. Is usually my genre of games, either action shooter or sports.
Okay.
Elden Ring came out. I decided to give that a try and
Hmm.
gonna stab my eyeballs out of frustration, but you keep coming back for more.
Hmm.
So variety is definitely something now that I'm trying to achieve.
Okay.
But I think as a kid, just growing up on all the Call of Duty chains, it's just hard to break away from that because I enjoy it. I'm not
Hmm.
the best at it, but I certainly enjoy playing it, and I think that's what makes it fun.
Yeah,
Because I notice that if I get on, I'm like, oh, I'll try that game because all the streamers are trying it. If you don't enjoy it, it's boring for everybody.
for sure, for sure. So, is there a specific type of game, like maybe even genre, that you're like, for sure, not your cup of tea?
Um, Not quite.
Hmm.
Maybe it's more because, um, one thing I did try out was the Grand Theft Auto series,
Oh yeah.
the role play servers, which
Oh,
was
okay.
really cool. But then I tried streaming the game and all like the vulgar language and stuff like
Oh,
that. I'm
yep.
like, it's like I don't want to put something out there that I don't want my own kids to see if
Okay.
they were ever to stumble across it when they have Facebook.
Hmm.
When I let them have Facebook 30 years from now. Um, but that's so I try to keep it. So maybe I try to stay away from Call of Duty. Warzone is violent and there's some swear words.
Yep.
You can kind of set the setting so it's not that bad. Whereas other games you can't. So I try to steer away from games like that and try to stay family friendly, if you will.
Okay. All right. So speaking of the goal to be family friendly, what are your other goals and aspirations for streaming?
I would like to still keep growing.
Hmm.
As I go through my career, I'm getting more steady schedule.
Okay.
So right now, I would like to work on a steady streaming time, whether that's from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m., whatever it might be, because nighttime seemed to work the best.
Hmm.
Um, just having that balance and definitely working on editing more, growing YouTube, growing. Facebook has this cool feature now of Facebook Reels
Oh, okay.
where you could put 30-second shorts on there of something funny that happened in your stream or something awesome, and then it directs them to your page.
Mm,
So just kind of working on that editing aspect because I do record everything.
right.
So that's not the hard part. The hard part is just having the time to go back.
For sure. For sure. So, speaking of Facebook, was there a reason in particular you chose Facebook over a Twitch, a YouTube, a Mixer, RIP, when that was around?
Right? I think just ease. I think because I had the laptop at a time. So I created the page Dojo 1544, which Dojo was my childhood nickname that my high school friends gave me because of Taekwondo.
Hmm.
So they always called me Dojo, and that became my screen name on Xbox. So I always kept that. I'm like, all right, and I just had to click this button to share it with the capture card. So it was kind of the ease of it. I didn't really know what Twitch was at the time,
Hmm.
so I didn't know to explore other options, and that's That's probably mostly it. I've streamed a couple times on YouTube. It's a little bit more successful to a couple of my friends were saying they don't have a Facebook profile.
Ah,
So they didn't want to download the Facebook Watch app or anything like that. So they were unable to gain access to the stream.
mm-hmm.
So I might expand that way on
Mm-hmm.
YouTube. But yeah, Facebook just seemed the easiest platform to just kind of, boop, here it goes. And it had, at least it seemed to me at the time, simple level up settings.
Okay.
Stream 2 hours a week and gain 100 followers, and you're eligible to receive stars.
Mm.
And then I think the next step is I need to have 200 returning viewers, I think, over a week's time. And then you
Okay.
can start earning subscribers. So it was kind of easy to level up that first jump.
Right.
And then that second jump was the larger of the two.
Mm. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know too much about Facebook streaming details. Like when I've popped in, obviously I've seen like the stars that you're talking about that people have given those to you and stuff like that. But yeah, Facebook's an interesting platform to use. Like Twitch and YouTube are great, but it seems like, especially Twitch, because that's where my experience is, like there's so many people on there, it's really difficult to kind of get that traction and build. Where Facebook, at least once again from my perspective, it seems like you've had that growth. I mean, looking at your page recently, like you have a lot of follows and that's fantastic, and likes and stuff. So like if that seems to be the platform that's working for you, that's fantastic. I wish you nothing but the best there. That'd be great.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. It's funny. The traction seemed to happen for whatever reason. One night it just jumped, and there was a lot of people from, I believe, the Philippines, because it tells you what region
Oh,
was
okay.
looking at it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it was probably because of the time change, because midnight for us
Oh.
is probably afternoon. And so that was pretty neat to know. But then, sometimes it just doesn't push
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason. So it's kind of learning the ins and outs that I'm still working on, even a year and a half in.
Yeah, yeah, it's a process.
Right, exactly.
So I guess big picture, is there anybody that, like you talked about streaming with your friends, obviously playing the games with them, is there anybody you'd like to try and connect with and stream games also with?
Oh, that's a great question. It's funny you say that. I've been looking at some pages and trying to gain the courage of trying to reach out to them,
Mm-hmm.
but not knowing how. But there's a couple guys on Facebook. Drill, he's kind of got a like-minded stream, like funny entertainment, but certainly skilled Warzone player. It's probably that skill gap that I'm worried about. If I reach out and then they're like, okay, let me check out this dojo guy. Ooh, he's not that great at the game. So that's what I'm nervous about, is if that skill gap matches. So there's Drill, Sergeant Finesse, very similar, like-minded. I would say, obviously, the ultimate goal, if one day we were to pull out a Stone Mountain card
Mm-hmm.
out of my pocket, that'd be cool. But that'd probably be further down the road. So yeah, the short term, the people that seem to be on that next level above us beginners
Mm-hmm.
is probably Drill and Sergeant Finesse. They're pretty cool dudes, and I think we'd be able to vibe well and have a funny stream.
Nice. So you've mentioned games that you've played, Warzone, DayZ, GTA, etc. Is there anything coming out on the horizon, or maybe a little farther, that you want to try and stream?
I've been looking at racing simulators.
Okay.
I've always kind of wanted to try that. Obviously, racing setups can be kind of expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe just like the NASCAR simulators, the iSims or the iRacing, I mean, they seem pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I've always enjoyed NASCAR games for whatever reason growing up, so I feel like that'd be a fun fit and something to try. I was always a Xbox PS4 gamer.
Okay.
And when I started streaming, I convinced my wife, like, "Hey, I really need this PC.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look how awesome this PC is here. It would make my streaming life way easier. And remember, it's my part-time hobby, so it flew. So maybe I'll try to convince her to maybe get a racing wheel for our anniversary or something like that."
Okay. All right. Good luck with that.
Yeah, right? I know. Yeah, you know the drill. It's easier said than done.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Very cool. So editing on the side of that, when you eventually tackle that, do you think it's going to be more like, what's your goal with that? Do you think it's going to be more like the short clips to put out potentially on other social medias to kind of network, or do you think it's going to be like a VOD, like this was the stream from Tuesday and you can watch it whenever kind of thing?
That's a good idea. I mean, yes to the short streams.
Mm-hmm.
I think just being able to find a clip that was super funny, putting that out there will help, or even just a high skill play or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook saves, and I think Twitch does too. Facebook saves the streams, and anybody can go back at any time.
Yeah, Twitch has it for, depending on if you're affiliate or your partner, a different length of time. So, for example, as an affiliate, I believe 2 weeks it will stay up there. And then as a partner, you can change it for, I know some streamers have it like where I can scroll for years and I'm like, oh shit, okay.
Enigma's first stream.
Right. Oh, no.
Right?
Look at that.
Right? Exactly. Yeah, so I mean, maybe reposting those to YouTube. But, I always find myself sometimes, like, I'll get into a game and I'll have a great game. And it was, some viewers are watching, so it was engaging at the same time. And then I'm like, oh, I forgot to hit the record button.
Oh, okay.
And yes, you can pull it off of Facebook, but the quality gets a little wonky.
Yeah.
And then it's hard to put it into the DaVinci. I use DaVinci to edit.
Oh, okay.
It was a free program.
Yeah.
And it was pretty good. It's a little complicated, in my opinion. So maybe there's another program out there if anyone has any suggestions. But I think the shorter ones will be better for now to work up to the longer edits.
Gotcha. Okay. And I think my last question. So obviously learning all this, we had a brief conversation one night about streaming, but we never went in depth, you and I, about it. When you started, or when you run into maybe an obstacle, what's your method of tackling that to figure it out and solve
Usually it's YouTube. Usually it's YouTube. Going to YouTube, being like, hey, how did this dude find the right green screen color to match? Because apparently the green that you and I have isn't the green in Streamlabs OBS.
Oh, okay.
So I had to play with the color chart, and maybe because it's my lighting but simple stuff like that. Or recently, weird things have been happening. Like it would delete my webcam. From Streamlabs. So I'll have a great stream. I fix my green screen, and then I'll open it back up. 2 days later, everything's gone.
Huh. Interesting.
Which really sucked.
Right.
And I don't know if that was a save issue, saving in settings with Streamlabs or what it was there. But yeah, troubleshooting definitely is YouTube. Luckily, my friend Josh, who plays Warzone with me most often, is great with computers. So usually it'll be like a FaceTime call, or we'll do a Discord where I share my screen, and he'll be able to troubleshoot it.
Good.
Which has led me to learning more things. So I'm pretty good now. Obviously, can always get better.
Right. Nice. Very cool. Well, everybody make sure you go over on Facebook and follow Joe. Once again, Dojo1544. I'm sure, like you said, you're on YouTube as well. Same username, everything there.
Same username, except I had to add the gaming to the end.
Yeah.
And,
I've seen some other channels do that. I'm like, oh, okay. So
also as well, switch over to Twitch, Enigma9011.
Hello.
Make sure you drop him a follow. Is it follows on Twitch?
It is follows on Twitch.
It is follows on Twitch. And ultimately a subscribe would be awesome too.
That would be very nice. Remember, if you have Amazon Prime, you have Twitch Prime. You get one free.
Oh, really?
Twitch subscription. You just have to do it manually every month. But it's there.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Big Papa Amazon owns Twitch, so they threw that bone. Well, thank you. Awesome, Joe. I'm glad to know more about your streaming, because like I said, we had that brief conversation one night, I think at the banquet, and that was pretty much the end of that. But obviously,
and I think both of us, usually that banquet, you don't remember much of the night after that.
Some of us don't. Some of us remember every little detail.
Oh man, those are good times.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to those coming back. But
I agree.
Yeah, good
times.
Good times.